Hello, how's it going? This is Sandro and Gino coming to you live with the installment of Storm Chasers, a hockey podcast. Coming to you live after game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Canes lose to the Golden Knights. A really close, high scoring affair. Gino, how are you doing?
Um, I'm okay. It's definitely disappointing. But I don't think it was a terrible showing for the Canes. We were definitely in that game. That was down to the last 5 minutes essentially, and I think honestly, from both sides, we saw quite a few mistakes. Which, like they were saying on the broadcast, was just completely, uncharacteristic of these two teams. So I definitely think there's some things for the Canes to dissect and try to fix here going into game two. But I don't, it's not defining for the series yet. I think what it does do, though, is really put the pressure on for game two, right? We definitely don't want to go down 0-2 at home. So I think game two now becomes a little more important than maybe it was before.
Yep, agreed. I look back to the Eastern Conference Final. We dropped the first game. The Canes showed that they're able to bounce back and come back and win the series in 5 games. The Golden Knights looked like the better team for a good bit of this game, but then the same can be said with the Canes. The Canes had a really strong first period, notably Nikolai Ehlers got 2 goals. It's just cleaning up some of the passing, cleaning up some of the mistakes. We have Jankowski and Chatfield both getting 2 penalties. Or sorry, looks like Jankowski got 2, Chatfield got 1. Just you know, doesn't yeah
That
neither
one by
team.
Chatfield was not good. Yeah.
Yeah, the trip, and it's like none of the penalties led to goals. Or sorry, was there a power play? No, there was not a
No, no,
power play
no.
goal.
The penalty kill was spectacular on both sides.
Yeah, but that just means you're playing shorthanded 4 minutes in the third period when you're down one, and
Yeah.
that's not
You're
what you want to
starving
be
your five
doing.
on five minutes.
Yep,
No, yeah. And 5-on-5s where we've been best.
yep,
Um,
exactly.
I think if let's do a little call out. What do you think if you could name one thing for the Canes or one player? I guess either way. What do you think's the big thing going into game two? If you had to boil it down to just one single thing.
You got to figure out either a sort of fix or change to make on line one, or figure out a way to get those guys going. I think Svechnikov had a good game. We talked about that throughout watching the game. Aho wasn't bad, but Jarvis had a really tough time handling the puck. And that you hate to see it, right? He's such a fun dude, such a character on the team. It's so important to our team. So hopefully they could go watch some tape, make an adjustment that works for him, works for that first line, and gets them a little bit more in the game.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see actually how games two, three, and so on end up playing out because like we had talked about this during the game, but we saw a lot of momentum shifts. This game was crazy, and I think that's pretty typical when at this level of a game. I think especially in a game one where neither team has essentially established their style or fallen into rhythm with their play, and I think we saw the Golden Knights kind of snatch that energy back going into the second period, and it kind of just felt like a back and forth after that, right?
Yep.
And I think if we're going for shootouts, I think Vegas will probably have an edge. They have that top end talent that puts the puck in the net, and that's what we're missing, right? So I think for us, limiting the turnovers and kind of now having seen how Vegas plays, getting a feel for how they want to play the game when they're playing well, I think that will benefit hopefully the Canes if they can, study that and make the proper adjustments to move forward successfully.
Yep, agreed. We were sort of talking during the game. Obviously, the neutral zone play from Vegas was I don't know if I want to say as advertised, right? That was like a strong point in their game, but I don't think it was as overwhelming as it was made out to be. But from the sort of goals that we do see Vegas score, do you notice like a common theme with them, or from your just like first
I mean,
reflections?
I saw it in Montreal, not exactly the same play, but Montreal had a couple wingers or centers where they'd get the puck deep and throw it up high in the slot, and our man-on-man coverage, for whatever reason, has been losing guys in the slot. And I think it ends up creating a lot of time and space for guys, and I think that's something we need to look to minimize, that north to south puck movement. When the puck gets in deep, we need to try to keep it down low or keep it up high, but we can't be letting them throw it, you know, all the way across the ice. And then honestly, I mean, Jarvis looked pretty bad tonight, to be honest with you. I thought covering in the zone, I thought his plays created a lot of turnovers that created, good rushes for Vegas, which led to goals. I think just cleaning up in the defensive end is going to be our big key, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's normally where we shine, but we're playing a really fast, really physical team right now.
yeah.
So it's kind of figuring out how we can gain possession and get that thing out and going our way. And then, like I said, I mean, there was a lot of turnovers in the defensive zone for Vegas. Well, I guess in our offensive zone, we would
Yeah.
turn over the puck and they got really good rushes going forward.
It
And I
it
think,
it was brutal to see. We were sailing passes all night. Like in the last minute when we have Freddie pooled right at 6-5. Every time we get established in the Vegas zone, we Jarvis through one, other end of the ice, and then what Stankoven through another all the way into
Evan
the
just
ice.
mishandled completely. And
Yep.
honestly, those are the kinds of plays that like we need to finish or
Well,
we need to
yeah,
get a
yeah.
shot off. We cannot, especially at that point in the game with the score the way it is on the stage you're in, that is not an acceptable level of, play. I think that's the nerves getting to them a little bit. I think that's the pressure coming. And I think you talked about changing up line one. Jarvis struggling a little bit. I think you'd said Ehlers up to that top line, send Jarvis down, and I don't think that's a terrible idea. I think they've played together. I think Jarvis used to be that guy on that
Yeah,
line with
Jarvis used to play
Stahl
with
and
Martinook
Martinook.
and Stahl, and he
And
he did really well. I think having
mm-hmm.
that older presence, gave him like I don't know, sort of bubble to play well and do his own thing and shine in a different way. You had him playing with two of our other really skillful players, in Svechnikov and Aho. Maybe there's just like not an individuality thing that he can figure out on that line. But the one thing that
that
like
and
the conversation that I like clued into a lot, like coming after the first period, Vegas, they were saying they're like a half second behind, right? And a half second's not a lot of time, like just to the normal person, but that's huge in the game. And it's those little puck bobbles, the just not having clean passing that like puts you half second behind the play, and I think that ate up the Canes tonight.
yeah, I agree. I think too, moving Jarvis down or Ehlers up or whatever they decide to do, I think that could take some pressure off of Jarvis.
Yeah,
And sometimes, I mean, I think he's looked pretty rough all playoffs, and I wonder if some of that pressure, that traditionally has kind of shut down Carolina's top line, I feel like might be getting to him a little bit. This is kind of his first chance up with these guys at this level, I feel like. So,
yeah, yeah, agreed. It's an
Freddie,
interesting
what do
game.
you think of, yeah, what do you think about Freddie? I mean, goaltenders, are we happy with Freddie's performance? What do we think?
I think there's one clear one that Freddie would like. Well, okay, I hate that saying. First and foremost, get that out of the way. Hearing someone say, "Oh, I think a goalie would like that back," that is so stupid in my mind. Like,
They want everyone back.
yeah, like that. There isn't a goal, regardless of how it happened, that they don't want back. I think there was one that was a little bit more on Freddie than the others, and I think it was
Goal
it
two or
was the
three, I think, for
yeah, I want
Vegas.
to say it was goal two, from
It was off a
Vegas.
bad turnover, but the positioning, he was out of position. He got caught out of position. It would have been great if he had that. I do think he made some really amazing saves. Same for Carter Hart on the other side, late in the third. That one, uh, stealing that one from Jarvis, I think mentally kind of struck the team a little bit, and that may have contributed to the goal that followed thereafter.
I don't know if
It's
it
just
struck the
hard.
team. I think too. It's just like it doesn't spark it. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily like, oh, he made the save on Jarvis of all people. It just doesn't give us that spark that we need, and keeps the game going in the direction that the Knights want it to go.
absolutely. So, I mean, I'm excited for game two. I'm
Me
I'm
too.
curious to see if it'll be similar or not. I'm hopeful for the Canes win. I think that Rod is the guy you want on the bench in a situation like this. I love our staff, especially this late in the playoffs, and I think we have the right mindset. I think, like you said, I mean this wasn't a blowout. This wasn't like a crazy game where we got destroyed. It was a one goal game,
Yep.
that came down to the final 5 minutes, and there were chances both ways. And I think at the end of the day, the Canes are just like in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're gonna learn from this, and they're gonna come out absolutely swinging here in Game Two.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to see that they were keeping up with the Golden Knights. So I definitely don't have like a lot of like
I will say, yeah, that
uh,
that one thing that I mean, the Golden Knights, their edges and what they succeed at, or what they coming into this series, I guess what everyone was saying they had in their favor being, their offensive prowess and everything. I think the Canes did show a good ability to keep up with that.
yep.
Like they can do that, we can do that too. And I think that is a huge takeaway for the Canes to take away from this game. And I think defensively, we did shut down a lot of opportunities. I think just those few little mistakes that did lead to the scoring chances that, converted for Vegas, I think are is going to be the big thing.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Um, I like that it didn't look like there was a point in the game where the Canes were being dominated. I genuinely feel like it's going to be like a similar story to Game One of the Eastern Conference Finals. So, just hold out hope, be positive. I'm sure that that they
Yeah,
got this.
it sounded like Lenovo was going real hard
Yeah,
before the game
yep,
and during the game. I love that. I think that's what makes the Canes so special at the end of the day is the whole culture and atmosphere behind, rooting for a team like this. Even Mark Messier was like, I've never been to a game here in person, but wow, this is something that if you love hockey, you should come to a Canes game in Raleigh. And I think that's awesome.
yeah. It's
Uh
cool to see the fans get some credit, and I
yeah.
think that's all Canes ask for, want. We started this podcast and the idea that there's not enough like coverage or like I guess familiarity with Carolina Hurricanes hockey and the hockey world. And it's cool to see us get our kudos and see the fans loving it and having fun. Um, so I
Yeah, but
think
let's
that
not
is a
stop
big
here.
part of it.
Let's
No, no, yeah,
Yeah, I think the legacy continues, and game two is going to be it. I will say, I mean, it makes sense, but this is the most stressed out I've been all playoffs, and we've been fortunate to not have to deal with that very much. But oh man, this stage, I forgot how this feels. Rooting for a team, like really rooting for your own team in the finals, is exciting and emotionally taxing. But I cannot wait. What is it, Thursday? I cannot wait for
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. Thursday. Do you want to see any like aside from the Jarvis one, any line adjustments, or you think we just go business as usual and
No,
try to move forward?
everyone else, I thought everyone else looked decent. I mean, there was a couple plays from, all over the ice that I thought could be better, but I think performance-wise tonight, I saw Jarvis make, I think he had the worst game I've seen him play.
Yep.
And I think at this level, at this time of the year, that you can't be doing that. You can't be having your worst game of the year. And I think that's just the only thing. Fred, you can make an argument like, oh, do we try to start Bussy? We know this is going to be a shootout kind of series. Do we want to save Anderson or do we want to play Anderson? He didn't look bad. It wasn't necessarily
Yeah,
like
no, I
he's the
don't
one
think
who
it's
lost
on
us the game.
Anderson. I think
But I'm
you.
not saying switch him from a performance standpoint. I'm saying switch him for like, in hopes that I don't know. I guess going to 7 game series, Anderson's fresher. He's mentally set going into games 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sucks that the alternative is a dude who hasn't played hockey in about 2 months. But
That's
going,
true. That is true. I mean, that's absolutely a gamble for the Canes, and maybe that's why we just hold them out till we absolutely need to, right?
yep, yeah, I do think that it is also worth saying, right? Like, I ideally, right, Seth Jarvis can have a bad day, but the team around him can back him up and like prevent
Absolutely.
pucks from going in the net. And I think that maybe like you look at Seth Jarvis and our defense as the two systems that sort of failed tonight. And when you have those two systems failing, it's not going to work out. So you if we want to be like, okay, Seth Jarvis isn't in his groove right now, we can't be getting caught with both of our demon, behind our own goalie. That it's never gonna work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Jarvis loses his guy in the middle.
yeah,
Bang. Goal.
and
Yeah.
it's like two goals come off that way. So you or two goals at least come to Vegas' side for that, and it's like, all right, well, I mean, those are fixable, coachable things, and we come back at it. We don't make those mistakes. I think we're in control of the game.
Who do you think had the best game for the? I mean, that might be a stupid question,
That's
but yeah,
it's
who do you
obvious.
give the best game?
It's gonna be Nikolai Ehlers, man. He.
Yeah,
I mean, the first period obviously was awesome, but he was fast. He looked good. But I
I
also
was,
just wish we could reward him with that. It'd be like, oh yeah, you got those two goals. We got you a dub.
and we won.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I think another shout out for me, maybe a little underrated. No, I don't think he's underrated, but Jordan Stahl, I think, had a really great game. The
yeah,
timely goal for him, but I also just saw him really asserting his physicality all over the ice,
yeah,
like he's so good at doing. And I think going forward in the series that he is going to be an absolute unit for us. I think that's one of our key pieces against Vegas. Uh, is Jordan Stahl and Martinook. To be honest, I liked how both of them looked. I did notice a few times there. A lot of people were losing their feet tonight,
yeah,
so that's definitely a factor too.
yep,
I think I saw Vegas, a couple of Vegas players spin out, lose an edge. I saw Carolina spin out, lose an edge, and that might be a byproduct of just how fast these two teams are playing right now.
yep, yeah. I agree. And one other thing that I'm like just picking up here. I'm looking at the stats and the game like overview. Is we do shut down Mitch Marner and we shut down Jack Eichel. That's a huge recipe for success. It's just like follow up on that, similar to the what we said with the two goals from Ehlers. Like we gotta really like it's so important for us if we're doing those things well, like the really big things well, to do the small things well. So it's all easy.
Yeah. Do you think this win can be attributed more to like Carolina played a poor game or uh Vegas played a really good game?
I think we played a poor game. I think you
Yeah.
you look at our defense. No one's gonna be happy with a lot of the goals and just being out of position. And
I don't
then
think their score reflects like our like if you were to grade our game on the Carolina Hurricanes hockey game grading scale, a perfect game is an A and the
yeah,
worst games are Fs. This was a solid maybe a C,
I was gonna say a
you know.
C as well, especially like comparative to the rest of our playoff games, right? Like from the sample size we have of the 2026 like Stanley Cup playoffs, that was absolutely a C game. It was borderline their worst
That being
game,
said, yeah,
but
that being said, like you said, I think Vegas though after this kind of a game, it also alleviates some of the nerves for me because seeing we kind of saw what Vegas was capable of.
yeah,
And we saw if we were, capable of handling it, which it seems like, for the most part, I think we can. I think, clean up the couple of things we need to clean up and we're going to be playing a good game against Vegas.
exactly, agreed. All right, so we're gonna revisit the predictions. What do you think? What's your call now that
Well,
we have game one?
mine's immediately wrong cuz I took the gamble.
Yeah, yeah,
But obviously I'm sticking with our boys. I'm taking Carolina in 6. I think we win game 2, we win game 3, we lose game 4, win game 5, win game 6.
yeah.
Wait, yep. I think I said that right. Yeah.
I'll
That's my prediction. How about you? What do you think?
I'll be good old Mr. Dependable. I think we do another gentleman's sweep. We got the nerves, the anxiety, the slip ups out of the way. We're gonna lock in, and they're gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm really not looking forward to here now is the next 48 hours of the Canes haters coming back out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
coming out in full force. Oh, we told you so. Um, just
you guys have
boring
no chance.
hockey. No,
Yeah.
just the same old, same old. Um, it's done in such an interesting way too, because it's like they don't. I feel like the national narrative doesn't necessarily outright say that the Canes are bad. It just seems that like whoever the Canes happen to be playing are like
Are
just
better.
the cream of the crop, like just that
Yeah.
much better, and
Yeah.
they use that as a way of sort of avoiding the conversation about like what the Canes do so well. But that's fine. That's me being a bitter fan, being sad coming off of a loss. I just no. I
Yeah.
want to
I mean,
win
I
so bad.
let's all show up Thursday. I mean, let's. I hope the fans are all just crazy at Raleigh, just like they were today, just absolutely firing. And I hope the boys come out firing. And I hope the whole building's on fire. I want to blow the whole roof off that place on Thursday. So that's what I think the Canes would really benefit from a really strong first period. I think in game two, come out, maybe grab a couple goal lead, prove that
and
you're
hold
still
it.
in this.
And hold
Yeah,
it.
and yeah, exactly. All
All
right, guys.
right.
Well, this
Yeah.
was Storm Chasers, a hockey podcast. Wish it could be under, winning light tonight, but we'll see you guys on Thursday for game two, and we can't wait.
Yep, definitely. Just also want to give a shout out. We do have active accounts, post all the episodes across, Spotify, YouTube, and our Twitch VODs. So really appreciate any engagement, comments, likes, subscribe, following the podcast on however you're listening to us. All greatly appreciated. But yeah, hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and fingers crossed for a better outcome Thursday night. Bye, y'all.
Yes. Bye.